Hey heroes, welcome back to the Heroes Institute. I'm Damien, and today we are going to talk about the difference between self-worth and self-esteem. So what is the difference? And some people might be thinking, isn't it the same thing? You know, aren't they synonymous? Well, there is a subtle nuance, and I like to talk about nuances first before we dive deep into the topic. So nuances are essentially your ability to, your intelligence, because when you think about it, the results in life are based on the decisions you make, and the decisions you make is based on your ability to discern or make nuances between different options. So, and those, so obviously if you're not very good at telling apart a good investment or a bad investment, or a good person or a bad person. It can lead to kind of long-term problems or results that aren't optimal. So other examples are that are important in life is knowing the difference between serving and pleasing, inspiring someone or motivating someone. And one that I like is the difference between a job and a career. So one of the comedians I follow, Chris Rock, does a bit on this. He does he talks about the difference between having a job and a career. So I'm gonna link that below in the description so you can watch it and kind of laugh your butt off, because I'm not gonna ruin it. I can't do the joke. Okay, so this leads us with the million-dollar question: what is the difference between the two, and why should I care? What's its impact? Okay, so let's first talk about what is self-esteem. We have to understand the differences. We need to understand what they are before we can kind of highlight the difference. So self-esteem is essentially your perception, your feelings and thoughts about your worth, relative to society. So people of high self-esteem are usually like judges, lawyers, doctors, celebrities, people we traditionally see as being on top, people that are on top will naturally have a higher self-esteem since they are on top. They feel like, wow, I'm better than a lot of people. So now on the flip side, we have self-worth, which is a very similar definition. So it's your kind of perception, your feelings and thoughts about yourself or about your worth in society. However, it's based on internal kind of measures. It's intrinsic value. So essentially, the main difference or the nuance is that self-esteem is an external kind of force, or kind of, it's determined externally. It's extrinsic value, whereas self-worth is an internal kind of measure. You have intrinsic value. It's the intrinsic value that matters. Or your kind of self-worth is determined by intrinsic qualities. So that is the key difference. So what, so anyway, so knowing that difference is just kind of mind-blowing, because if you think about it, your self-worth can be determined by yourself. You choose that you have higher self-worth. It's very much in your control, whereas self-esteem is kind of at the mercy of society. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the dangers of putting too much emphasis on self-esteem rather than self-worth. So as mentioned before, self-esteem is determined outside. It's an external measure, traditionally seen as that. So people that higher up will have higher self-esteem. So it's linked to kind of our status, or our relative position in society. So it kind of implies that there is a hierarchy. So people at the top will have higher self-esteem than people at the bottom, which is kind of how society is structured and how it's built today. So the danger of that is that it implies that you have to be competitive. You have to kind of destroy your fellow man to get to the top. You need to go stand on someone's head or shoulders just to get to the top. And that is kind of destructive when you think about it, because you have that sense of insecurity. Someone else is going to try to take your job, or they're going to try to backstab you or whatever. So there's an inherent kind of risk basing your worth on an external measure. Similarly, it fluctuates. This whole idea that it's external means that if your external environment, which most people can't control, changes, then that means your kind of self-esteem changes. So for instance, the example is, if you just got fired from your job and you were the CEO of a company, do you think your self-esteem will be pretty high, or would it be like I mean, you won't lose it completely, who knows, but it suffers a huge loss. The value is like stocks; it just goes all the way down because you lost your job or whatever, some kind of external circumstances that that happen and kind of destroy your self-esteem. Now, on the other hand, self-worth, if you determine it yourself, it's kind of like you are in control of your self-worth. You can say, you know what, I don't care what people think. I don't care if I lose my job, I know I'm awesome. And I know that's kind of egotistical in a way, but self-worth is, in a sense, just self-belief, self-confidence, that it's the beliefs, the convictions you have in life that it defines your identity. It's your identity that you control. So you decide what you believe in, what you have convictions about, and so forth. You don't rely on someone else to tell you what to believe in or think and feel. So that is the major difference. And there's obviously a huge benefit if you kind of have control of your self-worth rather than be at the mercy of someone else or society. So let me try to find where I'm up to first. Okay. So yeah, self-worth is defined internally, so you are the only person responsible for your identity, your worth, your value. So focusing on your self-worth kind of frees you from the shackles of society. You don't have to be a slave anymore. You don't have to play this this game. You don't have to be in a rat race anymore. It's so liberating, and it's a very kind of a humbling, and kind of gives you a sense of inner peace, because you know what, I'm not going to I'm not going to die if I lose my job or anything. It's going to be fine because I know I'm going to be fine. I know I'm worth a certain level. And unlike self-esteem that can go like this, it can fluctuate a lot because of your relative position in society. Your self-worth is relatively stable, unless, it's not going to go like that and that, because your beliefs don't really change as much as your external environment. So that's the good thing about that. That's a great thing about self-worth. Now the question is, how do you build your self-worth? And a lot of people might be thinking, okay, all I have to do is just start believing myself. And to an extent, yes, but you can't just start saying, I'm a millionaire, or I'm the strongest person, I'm the best person, no one can beat me. That's just egotism, and it's kind of, you're deluding yourself. So the way, the real approach to build your self-worth is kind of a steady approach, and it's like about building your beliefs over time. You don't just, it's like when you start learning something, like learning a sport or a language or a skill, any kind of skill. In the beginning, you kind of like, you suck at it, and then you get better and better at it, and you slowly become an expert, and that's kind of like, you get to this point where you just know you are good, you are awesome. I know I'm at the top of my game. If I lose my job, I know I'll get another one. I'll get a better one. That kind of thing. That's the attitude you get, you have when you have high self-worth. And just to illustrate, we've all met, I'm sure a lot of us probably met people with high self-esteem and high self-worth. And the difference is, when you meet someone with high self-esteem, they generally have a sense of ego, because they tie their kind of their worth to external things. So getting a bigger car, a nicer car, bigger house, it's all ego. Being the CEO at the top, it's just like, I am better than everyone, that kind of thing. Where self-worth is, when you meet someone with high self-worth, you feel calm. They have a sense of aura about them. They kind of a peace about them, that it's a quiet kind of charisma. Like, they're just comfortable with who they are. They don't need to prove themselves to anyone. They don't go like, they don't need to compare. They're just independent. They're just self-sufficient. They just know that they are awesome, without even trying to prove they're awesome. It's an aura of awesomeness, let's call it. So going back to how do you build it? So as I said, it's kind of you have to build your beliefs over time until they become convictions, unshakable convictions that you just know your worth is here, and it's there, and it's unshakable, okay? And it's it's really about growing. And even more specific, it's really about growing in areas that you enjoy. So it always comes down to, you know, knowing your purpose, your mission in life. Because when you have a purpose and mission, it slowly pulls you, or you gravitate towards that goal, and then you naturally just become better. Because if you love something, if your mission is to become, I don't know, the fastest person in the world, the strongest person, the richest person, and it drives you, it kind of motivates you, and kind of inspires you to grow better every single day, you will naturally get there. You naturally, you go down that, you go up that kind of trajectory of growth and hence increased self-worth. So, I mean, a little bit vague, but you know, everyone's got a kind of different life path, and I can't just say, oh, you got to be the strongest person in the world, you know, or you got to have the highest paying job, because everyone has different kind of measures of success or worth. So just know that it's kind of based on your ability to keep growing, keep growing your beliefs, strengthening your beliefs about how much you can contribute. And that's the key. Contribute to society. You know, that you are worth something. You're not worth something based on your title or what you have. You're worth something based on your skills that you have built over time. That kind of attitude you have. Now, some questions that can help you kind of find your mission or purpose in life. I know it's probably the most challenging thing to do in life, to find your purpose, but let me give you some questions. So some of the questions I kind of created are: how can I contribute to this world in a way that I enjoy? So as I said before, it's about contribution. What kind of value can you give to the world that adds to it rather than takes away from it? Because ego, in a sense, takes away from society. You have to beat other people, you destroy other people to get to the top. Another question is, what excites and challenges me to grow? So you know, things that you're passionate about naturally kind of pull you or force you to grow in good ways, that you become better and better. Okay. And the last question is, what would I love to do if there was no such thing as money or status? And that's powerful. It's because you remove yourself from this kind of external pressure saying, oh, you need to become a lawyer to be good enough. You need to become a doctor. You need to become this and that. You need to prove to me that you are good enough. So when you take it all away, you can just be whoever you like. That stress, that kind of enslavement is gone. And that's powerful, because when you choose something you love, it's because you love it. It's because of, you know, it excites you. It's you. It's your kind of identity. It's your special, unique characteristic. You get the point, you know. So in the end, it's making this subtle difference. So if by focusing on yourself, building yourself, growing your beliefs, and you know, having convictions about who you are, what you want to do in life, and how you can contribute, you make it. Yeah, you will never be victim to society. You will never have those kind of crazy fluctuations in your worth, like, oh my god, I lost my job, I'm a loser, you know, or something like that. You'll never be a victim to that, and you kind of guarantee yourself to success, because it's a slow and progressive path you take to get there. It's not like that. You don't expect to go anywhere. If you keep going like that, the average is just like that. You just flatline. Okay, so focus on self-worth. Never focus on self-esteem. Self-esteem can be destroyed in a second, and it involves destroying everyone else. Focus on contributing to society, being better and better, and growing every single day. And that's the main takeaway of this kind of knowing the difference between these two concepts, or these which seem like they're one, but they're not. They're completely different in a sense, you know. And if you want to be successful, happy in life, focus on self-worth. If you want to be miserable, if you want to be kind of play this rat race and just go and just have this kind of emotional turbulence, focus on self-esteem. Okay, so there you have it. That's the difference, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If this is just ludicrous, you know, I'm a bit of a kind of nutcase at times, but let me know in the comments. Anything, feedback, whatever. And if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, so I can make more of them and know that you guys enjoy it. And that's it. Peace, okay? See you guys in the next video. Peace. Cheers.